All right. Good evening, everyone. I welcome you to this session. It's a wonderful Sunday evening, and it is yet another opportunity for us to learn. My name is Darius Nkwasiwe, a financial literacy trainer and founder at Building Capacity for Generations. I'm sure if today is not your first time, you've learned a great deal from our sessions, and we are continuing with the series. Recently, we had a session on investing in unit trusts, and I can say it went well. After the session, people became very curious, and I was like, wow, since this has been fantastic and people still have more questions, why don't we have someone else from another fund manager who can give us details and expand our knowledge on investing in unit trusts? For many of us who are not good at hustling, if I can say, unit trusts are an investment option for us. Of course, they have numerous benefits, like you may have known. So it is always very important that we equip ourselves with all this knowledge so that we can have informed decisions. So today's presenter is someone who is very, very knowledgeable about financial services, because he's been doing this for quite some good time. He's enjoyed it, and at least he has helped many people. Our speaker today is called Zac Kisesi, and is a portfolio manager at UAP Financial Services. Zac is a CFA chartered holder and is a member of the CFA Society of East Africa. He has also written papers and is also a lecturer of the CFA program in Kigali, Rwanda. His job description involves him investing money on behalf of institutional clients like pension schemes, as well as retail clients like investment clubs and circles. Zac, through his investment options like and he does this through investment options like unit trusts, treasury securities, and investment bonds. So Zac today is going to be sharing with us a lot about investing in unit trusts, and he'll give us perspectives from UAP Old Mutual Financial Services. So Zac, you're very welcome. You're very welcome to this session. The people that you're just going to meet are people who are very passionate about financial literacy. They are passionate about making sure that they become better at managing their finances, and they're always looking out for opportunities that will grow them. So as you speak to them, just know that they are going to pick a lot of value from you. And right now, I would like to welcome you to take over the platform so that you can share with us. When Zac has finished sharing, we'll come back to the Q&A session. So please now, if you have the questions, type them in the chat room. Because sometimes some people misbehave, I'll disable the audio as Zac presents, but you can remain using the chat room so that we can be able to pick the best from him. So I encourage you that when it is time for questions and you have a question, you raise your hand. Just make sure that you do not interrupt the speaker. I'm very sure that should you miss any part of this session, you can always visit the YouTube channel, that is Personal Finance with Darius, to pick up the insights that you may have missed. So please, Zac, the platform is yours, and there you go.
Thank you so much, Darius. Good afternoon, team. It's a great privilege for me to be here with you today. I'm very sure we're going to have a good session where we should be able to know a lot about the unit trust, as Darius requested me to talk about. And I'm hoping that that by the end of the session, we shall have answered all the questions that we have. So Darius, I don't know whether you can allow me to share my screen, because I want to talk with a presentation. I
Yes,
hope you
Zac.
can be able to help me do that.
Yes, Zac, you're able to share your screen.
I don't know why, for some reason, I am not being able to see my I don't know, Darius, whether you're seeing what I'm seeing. Are you seeing the UAP Old Mutual Financial Services slides?
Not yet, but I can see that it's coming.
Kindly let me know when you, if in case you're able to see, because
Okay, maybe could you stop sharing and try sharing again?
it should be okay now.
Yes, it is very okay now. You can only put it in presentation mode. That is now fantastic.
So, okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Darius contacted me a few weeks ago. I don't think I was actually planning to leave the country at that time, and he requested me to spare some few minutes to share with a group of like-minded people about the kind of investment options that we have. So I work with the company called UAP Old Mutual Financial Services, and we are part of the UAP Old Mutual group of companies. So we are 4 subsidiaries in Uganda. 2 of them are related to insurance, that's general insurance and life insurance. The 3rd company is a properties company, UAP Properties. For those of you who know Nakawa Business Park, which is just not far from MUBS, that is one of our properties. Then we also have a building in town called UAP Insurance Building. It's along Kimathi Road, Kimathi Avenue, just next to Kampala Casino. So I work for the 4th company, the 4th subsidiary, and that is UAP Old Mutual Financial Services. So we are licensed by 2 regulators. One of them is Capital Markets Authority, and the other is UBRA, Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority. So they're the ones who give us the license in order to do what we call fund management. For example, we invest money for pension schemes, such as Bank of Uganda, Housing Finance, Exim Bank. We invest for a number of pension schemes, and and UBRA gives us that license to do that. But we also have stock brokerage. For example, if you want to buy shares of various companies, we are in position to do that for you. We're able to trade for you, both buying and selling of stocks. And then also, of course, investment advisory from our point of view is we try to give our clients information before they make decisions. And of course, then we also have the unit trust. So I'll spend some time talking about the unit trust, because this is actually our #1 retail product. By retail, I mean any individual can be able to invest in the unit trust, whether you're a company, whether you are an individual, whether you are an investment club, an association, a family. You might want to open up an account for your child. You know, the unit trust is a very good option for you. Now, basically what a unit trust is that it's what we call 3 words: collective investment scheme. So think about all these groups of people I've mentioned that are interested in investing. So what happens that when these people open up an account with us, they're able to deposit money into a collection account. Our collection account is actually in Standard Chartered Bank. And now when you give us this money, we now invest this money on your behalf, depending on which type of investor you are. there are three types of investors. There's a short-term investor, there's a long-term investor, and there's a mid-term investor. Now, you can see on the right of the slide, you're able to see the different types of funds: money market fund, balanced fund, umbrella trust fund. And these depend on the kind of client you are. So for example, if you're a short-term investor, we would recommend you go for what we call the money market fund. This is basically a low-risk investment fund where we invest your money in short-term investments. Why? Because you're an investor. An example of a short-term investor could be, for example, a microfinance institution. It could be, for example, a money lender who gives us money, but they say, Zac, we want to be withdrawing our money very aggressively. So they might want to withdraw every day or every week. So when we're also investing for them, we invest in short-term but safe investments. So what we're saying is that you're not worried about losing your money because we are investing with commercial banks and the Central Bank of Uganda. But we invest in very short-term investments because you are a short-term investor. But then we also have what we call a long-term investor. This is someone who's saying, Zac, I don't want to touch my money for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Now, what happens in this fund is that when we're investing your money, we're investing very long-term investments and equities. When we talk about equities, we're talking about company shares. For those of you who invest in the stock market, remember that share prices can go up and come down anytime. So the people who benefit most from this kind of investments are those who are investing in the long term. Case in point is, excuse me, case in point is, for example, Safaricom. Remember, Safaricom came to trade in Uganda in 2008, and just in the first few weeks, it didn't do so well. But 8 years later, 10 years later, it is the darling of East Africa. So what are we trying to say? That when we're investing in the balanced fund, we are targeting long-term investors. People are not interested in withdrawing their money over the long term. So that within the long term, companies' performance may have stabilized, and that will give you an opportunity to do what? To maximize your return. However, majority of our clients are what we call mid-term investors. These are people who are neither short nor very long. And most of the people fall in this category. For example, you might want to invest with us and you say, every month send me my interest. Or you might be saying, I will withdraw my money as and when a problem comes. So this fund here is a safe investment fund in the sense that we invest in long-term investments, but safe. We don't invest in shares of companies like the balanced fund. Here we're investing in long-term but safe investments, 10-year treasury bonds, 15-year treasury bonds, long-term investments, which gives you an opportunity to maximize your return. Now, there are about 3 major benefits of the unit trust. Or why would many clients want to invest through the unit trust? One of the reasons is tax exemption, because the unit trusts are called collective investment schemes. And collective investment schemes, according to the Income Tax Act of Uganda, are tax exempt. What does this mean? If you are an individual and you went to fix money in a bank, the fixed deposit, or like this group that I'm speaking to, you'd be charged 15% withholding tax. So that simply means that of every 100 shillings that you make in terms of profit, 15 shillings would go to the taxman and you'd be paid 85 shillings. And this tax increases, goes up to 20% if you buy a treasury bill or bond, meaning that for every 100 shillings you make, the taxman takes 20 shillings and you're paid 80. However, if we go into these investments as the unit trust, we will earn 100% because we are not paying any tax. So for every 100 shillings that we make, the clients get back 100 shillings. So that's really the benefit number 1 of the unit trust. Secondly is you have unlimited access to your money, meaning that you can top up your account anytime and you can also withdraw anytime. The withdrawal process takes a maximum of 2 working days. However, we being the market leader, we have, that is UAP Financial Services, because we have about almost 70% market share, okay, of this unit trust fund. And one of the things this has done is that we have really built our rapport with the banks, with our custodian, to the point that if you send us your withdrawal instructions before midday, you'll get money same day. That is the common practice as far as our financial services is concerned. So our turnaround is quite fast. And this gives a lot of confidence in the clients to keep investing with us. And you can even withdraw to 0 balance. Point number 3 is returns. The interest that clients earn is a floating rate, first of all. what does floating mean? It means it is the rate that you are going to get when you open up an account with us is not fixed. So this means that every single day of the month, you will get a different interest rate. Currently, the interest rates are floating between about 10.3 and between 10.4 and 11.3%. Floating rate, okay? So today you may get 10.8%, tomorrow 11%, the next day 10.7. It depends really on the investment options that we have. But the beauty about us is that you're able to also get your monthly statement sent to you in the first week of every month. All clients get their statements, and these statements have two sections. One of them is a summary of your total investments of the month. It shows your opening balance, the total contributions, or which you can call top-ups, the total withdrawals you made in the month, total interest you made, and your closing balance. Then at the bottom, we now break down every single day of the month. The 1st of September, the interest rate was this. This is how much you made in absolute terms. The 2nd of September, this was the interest rate, this was the month. So it breaks down all that summary day by day. And on top of that, we also have online access. So we don't stop on sending you monthly statements. We also give you online access so that you can go into the system and generate your statement on your own. You can generate a 1 month statement, a 3 month statement, an annual report, an annual statement, because some of you may be accountants and you want to do a quarterly report back to the company. You don't need to call us to generate those statements for you. You can go into the system and do it on your own. So that's the beauty with the online access. So this gives you an example. Now, you see this money of ours that you make as far as interest concerned compounds. Daily compounding means that the interest earns interest. So every single day, your money makes an interest and your principal changes every day. So you keep earning interest on a bigger and bigger figure. So that's the reason why you can see 1 million shillings. And I'm using worst case scenario of 10.4% because that's the lowest interest rate which we have given since we started the fund in 2014. So this is a worst case scenario. You can see how the 1 million will be growing month 1, month 2, month 3, every single day, but this is just a summary. And if you look down on the right, month 12, you'd have made an extra 109,000, if that is worst case scenario, okay, for 1 million. If it is 200 million, think about it, you're almost making 2 million a month in terms of interest. And that's why the beauty about compounding is that you can see that the curve over time becomes an exponential growth curve. It is not a straight line. You can see, for example, if someone invested, okay, 5 million, okay, at the beginning of the fund, 2014, now that 5 million, sorry, that 10 million would have kept growing and would be now over 23 million now. And what about 3 years later, 4 years? That's the beauty about interest earning interest. Now, just a little bit about the governance structure, because safety is one of the questions most people ask. How safe is our money? Now, the regulator ensures that the governance structure is put in place to ensure that the client's needs are actually paramount. So for those of you who know pension schemes, they have a very strong governance structure. That's the same way that the unit trust has a governance structure, where you have you have trustees, you have a fund manager, you have a custodian, you have auditors, and so on and so forth. So for example, the process begins by client depositing money with a custodian. And once you deposit this money, this account here is what we call a segregated account. It's not an operations account, meaning that we as a fund manager do not even have access to your money when you deposit. The custodian just gives us visibility that this money has entered the account. It's for so and so. Now, for us, the only power we have is to give the custodian instructions where to send your money for investing. And these investment decisions that we make depend on the trust deed which the trustees gave us. So the trust deed is very clear. For example, in the umbrella trust fund, which is our commonest fund, it's very clear that you invest only in safe investments: treasury bills, bonds, fixed deposits. We invest with commercial banks, central banks, the central bank, but we are not allowed to give money to private companies. So that simply means that safety is of utmost importance in this investment. And we are also audited. Okay, the interest as far as the financial service is concerned, UAP is where our auditor is one of the big four, Ernst & Young, which ensures that every year when we are doing our annual reporting, in terms of the annual general meeting, because every interest is supposed to have an annual general meeting. When we're doing this annual general meeting, the auditor even has to confirm that our figures have passed the litmus Then, of course, we have our regulators. As far as the interest is concerned, it is CMA, Capital Markets Authority. Now, this shows you how popular the interest has grown. And these are figures from our fund. For example, 2014 we were just at 7 billion, but 5 years later, 2019, we had grown to 203 billion. And as far as the last annual general meeting we had, which was about 2 weeks ago, we had actually crossed 354 billion. So that shows you how many people are really getting into this kind of investment, the unit trust. And when you look at the interest rates, if you look below, you can see, and I'm going to focus mainly on Umbrella Trust Fund, because most likely that's the fund that you will probably go for if I told you you're joining. And it shows you how the interest rates have been. 2014 was our lowest interest rate of 10.4%. 2015 was 12.88. 2016 was 14.4. These are just the average rates since inception. 2017, 11.7. You can see the story. Now I'll just update the 2020 results, but you can clearly see how the interest rates have been. So what do you need to join? One, if you're an individual, or joint means maybe you're 2 people or 3 people opening up an account. Maybe you're not registered as an investment club or something, but you are 2 or 3 people coming together. You just need the colored passport photo. If it's a joint club, it is a colored passport photo for each of the members. Then you'd also need your 1-month bank statement for that account which you're going to put on the form. That will be the receiving account whenever you want to make withdrawals. But if it's a current account, you can just give us a check leaf, a cancelled check leaf. You just draw 2 lines on the check so that it is cancelled. Then, of course, you need a copy of your national ID, both front and back. If you're a corporate company and you're joining, the requirements you need are similar to the individual or joint investor, but with the exception of you need to add a certificate of incorporation, which is basically a birth certificate for your company. When did you start? Or if you're an investment club, you normally have a constitution. Then, of course, a resolution, meaning a resolution from your board saying we, the members of this company, have approved an investment in the unit trust. So these are my contacts. As I said, I work with UAP Old Mutual Financial Services. You can always reach me for personal consultation, or if you need some information on the markets and so on and so forth. You can reach me on phone. This is my phone number, even on WhatsApp, or you can also send me an email. So I want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Mr. Chair. And I think at this juncture, I will hand over the floor to you so that you could, or I could be able to answer the questions that may arise. Thank you very much.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Zac, for that brief yet very insightful presentation. We appreciate you very, very much. So we already have questions that have come in from the different members, and I will straight away push them to you. Members, if you have questions, please keep them coming in the chat room so that we can respond. So the first question came in from Doreen Chizito. She was asking how, just before that, there was a question from Patience, and she was asking, how can one open up an account with you? I'm sure you've hinted about that as you were closing, but you can always give more clarity or more insight where need be. And then
okay, I think what I'm going to do, Darius, because I can actually see the questions in my chat box. Yep. Let me answer them publicly. I'll read as I answer. And then maybe for those who want to ask questions directly, they could probably do that after. So you're right. Patience has asked how one can open an account. Very simple. It's very simple. You have my contacts or email. You can just reach me, ask me for the form. I can send it to you via WhatsApp or email. You fill in the form with the supporting documents. Then you can either deliver them physical to the office, or you can scan and send. And then from there, the system takes over. It sends you an automatically generated welcome message, sends you even your username and password for the online access. And even whenever you deposit money and you send us proof of transfer, the system automatically sends you a receipt, and so on and so forth. Yes, that's it. Then, well, Doreen is asking about how one can become a marketer for UAP. I think that one there, as I said, Doreen, you can actually give a call. We ask a few questions here and there because we actually have a team of agents which is very aggressive in moving our products. And most of them are actually doing presentations and everything. Actually, the agents of UAP Life and General are actually always answer to me. So you can always contact me, and then you shall be able to pass through the process. Now, someone asks, is it possible for one to have more than, that is William, is it possible for one to have more than one fund? Yes, it's very possible. You can have, what I recommend is that you start with the umbrella trust fund, because and then from there, when you gain confidence in our returns, you can now diversify to open up other accounts in umbrella, in balanced fund, and so on and so forth. The reason is that balanced fund, as I said, your principal is not protected because we're investing in shares. Prices can go up or down. So psychologically, if someone invests in umbrella trust fund and they're seeing steady income coming in, they're motivated to invest more. But if you started with balanced fund and the first month, if you give us 10 million, you find out you have 9.7 million, you may be a little bit skeptical in proceeding the investment. So I always suggest you start with a stable fund, and then later on you may invest maybe 5 to 10% of your money in other funds. But even you can open up multiple accounts. If for example, there's a Darius Nkwasibwe, and you open up an account with us, you might want to have 2 or 3 accounts. So you can just write to us and you request us to open up a second account, a third account, a fourth account, and you can also have multiple accounts. Okay. Yes, I can. Okay, Doreen has said she has really benefited from the unit trust. That's very good. Thank you for that vote of confidence. Someone's asking, I think that's William, how do I open up an account for my children? Now with children, it's different. Children have to open up joint accounts. So that means there'll be an adult and the child. Now the child, of course, does not have a national ID. If they have a passport, you can give us. But even if they don't have, they have a birth certificate. We can also allow a birth certificate or any documentation where the parents' names are or the guardian. So that means it can even be a primary health care card, okay, or a vaccination card if they are very, very young and you have not yet processed the birth certificate. So always find a way to get some documentation, and so that you can you can be able to open up. And I think that also answers Rose's question about opening up for minors. As I said, minors below 18, the law is very clear. The law believes that minors are not in position to make investment decisions. So that's the reason why an adult is always involved. And that's how it is. Yes. So now someone is saying that they're in Kenya, or imagine it was another country. So let me just assume Julius is saying, if I am abroad, can I open up a unit trust? And this is very important because you have quite a number of people who are based abroad doing Cheyo. Someone in South Africa, someone is in the US, and they want to send money here. And maybe these are people who have been frustrated by relatives, because you always send money, maybe to build a house. The house is being built, but when you come, you realize that you are being sent pictures for a neighbor's house or something. And this happens a lot. So the bit about the unit trust is that people abroad can invest here in Uganda, and your money keeps earning interest on a daily basis. And maybe 1, 2, 3 years when you come back, you're in position to withdraw your money and do those constructions. And this works especially for many people abroad who cannot trust relatives here to continue projects. So the interest is a very good opportunity for those who are abroad to invest here. You will still have your online access as long as you give us the KYC. There's nothing wrong with it. Patrick is saying, can I withdraw midway the term? Remember, this is an open-ended fund, so we do not know how long your money is going to be with us. We don't know whether you're going to withdraw money 1 week later, 1 month later, 1 year later. Our job is to keep giving you interest on a daily basis. So whenever you feel like withdrawing, you can withdraw. You can even withdraw all your money to zero balance without any penalties. So it's open-ended, and that is very, very important. Yes. So can I open an account online? Yes. As I said, that we shall send you the forms and everything. You're able to fill in the forms, and then you can scan and send to us. Yes. Now someone is asking Robbie that the treasury bond interest rates are usually high, like 15% or even 17%. And for Robbie, in case you are aware, as of last week, the 1 year fixed deposit was grossing 9.5%. You know, the markets move. They're not fixed. The markets move. So as I speak now, the 1 year fixed deposit, you'll get it at a gross, that is before even moving withholding tax of 15%, gross of 9.5%. So that shows you that the markets are never fixed. They're always moving, and that's why our rates also move. However, for us, even if the market, as we talk now, the rates are very low. Even if the market is low, we're always in double-digit return. So that is something to point about the unit trust. Yes, someone is saying that if I have my savings of 80 million and I want, that is Nicholas, and I want to save long term for 6 years, what will be my return? Of course, we have an investment calculator. You can actually contact me, but remember, as I told you, on average, you're looking at between 10.4 and 11.5%. So even if we say just for the sake of mental calculations, even if we say 10% times 80 million, that's about 8 million per year. And 8 million per year, if you divide by 12 months, you can see roughly how much it gives you per month. Probably it is about 600,000, okay, 600,000 per month, okay, from 80 million. And that is, I'm just using 10%. I'm not even factoring the compounding element. So you're able to earn interest, and this interest keeps on compounding.
Hi, Zac. We are not hearing you. Please confirm that you're still on.
Darius, I don't know, for some reason the meeting timed out, but I've actually come back. So should I proceed?
Yes, please go on.
Yes. I'm just trying to get to, yes, I think I was answering Janat. Yes, remember that we are a fund manager. So of course, because we have a lot of inflows on a daily basis, we are in position to get good rates when we are negotiating with banks, because banks know that if they give us good rates, we shall keep on giving them money. So for us, our job on the portfolio management team is to spread our risk across various banks. We have we do a lot of research on which banks to give what amount of money, how big is the bank, and how much are they able to take of our capital. So all of these are things put in place just for us to be able to be able to ensure that we are giving you a better return than what you'd get if you went directly to the bank. And also, don't forget, it's not just return you're getting, you're also getting accessibility to your money, because many times people forget the access. If you fix money in a bank for, say, 1 year, you'd have to wait for 1 year. If you try to withdraw your money before 1 year, there are heavy penalties, such as removing of your interest. So the bit about the interest is that you're in position to invest while you have that access to your money anytime. Yes, so that's the reason why we're able to invest. For example, we know when to go into the bond market, we know when to sell off shares, we know when to buy shares. We try to make sure that we follow the simple principle of buy low, sell high. So we are able to know to predict the market. If we're expecting rates to go up in future, we go into short-term investments now, so that in future, when the rates go up, we're liquid enough to pick up those long-term good rates. If we expect rates to go down, then we go long-term, so that even if rates come down, our clients are still benefiting from those high interest rates. So that's what we call, that's what portfolio management is all about, and that's why you have to go to school to study, so that you know how to predict the markets. Yes, someone has asked, Gloria is asking about the minimum contribution. The minimum contribution is 100,000 shillings, and so 100,000, you can start with 1 million, you can start with 10 million, with 100 million, and so on and so forth. Yes, so now someone is asking, I think it is Samuel even, that if I don't have a national ID, what type of document would you accept? Of course, if you don't have a national ID, you can give us a passport, and whichever documentation you give us, you have to also provide us proof of residence, like, for example, utility bill. That's if you don't give us a national ID, because you know the back part of the national ID caters for resident details and everything. But if you give us an alternative document, you have to attach either an LC1 letter proving where you stay, or you have to attach what utility bill if it is in your name, and so on and so forth. Yes, Patience is asking for my contacts. I think I will type that letter after, but my I will type that letter. But both my email and my phone number, and also Darius also knows how to get me. So Rob is asking, how much does UAP charge for this service? We know you are not a charity. Yes. Now, one of the things which we do is that when we quote interest rates, we quote them net, okay, after removing costs. Our costs are set by a regulator, and it is 2% of annual management, 2% management fee. So for us, when we quote our rates, when we say we are between 10.4 and 11.3%, that is after removing charges. So just for you to understand, if the fund, for example, generated a return of 14%, the client will take 12%, and the company will take 2%. So that is how we do it. Okay, so the management fees are actually quite low. Yes, so someone is asking, can my defendants access my trust fund? I don't know, William, who you mean dependents? Now, of course, when you're filling in the form, I sometimes I recommend that sometimes it's better to open up a joint account. The bit about the joint account is that if God forbid something happened to you, the other person who's the joint member would continue the investment without having to pass through the courts of law and things like that. But if you're an individual, the law is very clear, yeah, that even if you had a personal account in the bank and you passed on, we don't say your wife can take over. No, the law is very clear that letters of administration have to be processed, and whoever has these letters of administration can take over your investment. So we are that's how the finance industries, they are very, very cautious on who has access to this money. Julius is saying, can one deposit 1 or 10 million and leave it with you to grow? The answer is yes. Remember that your money earns interest on a daily basis. So whatever money is in your account today, at the end of the day, is what will earn you interest. So whether you've topped up money, whether you've withdrawn money, the question is, at the end of the day, how much in your account? That is what earns you interest. So it is daily interest, and interest earns interest. So that's the beauty about this investment. Yes. So yes. So I think that's basically it. I will just type my contacts in the chat box for the sake of patients who asked. But I will back to you, Darius. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Zac, for responding to these questions. I see someone is asking, do you have people in the diaspora? Definitely. Zac said yes. He has just typed his email in the chat room. You can kindly pick it up. And then, so Zac, there is a question here that you could have missed out. What is the difference between life insurance and unit trust investments? Maybe you could shed some light on that.
Oh, yes. Now, you see, insurance is different from investments. It's just like asking what's the difference between opening up a bank account and investing in insurance products. Now, when you look at these two businesses, first of all, the regulators are different. Insurance business regulated by IRA, that's Insurance Regulatory Authority. But for us, we're in investments, we're regulated by CMA, Capital Markets Authority. Okay, with insurance, for example, in the event that you die, there are benefits that will come to you. For example, if it's a life policy for your children, maybe the insurance company will keep paying school fees for them till they graduate. It depends on how you structured the insurance company is structured. However, with investments, it's very clear. We are just giving you a return. We are giving you interest on your investment, and that is it. So we are not doing compensation, because insurance mainly focuses on compensation, but we are not compensating you for in the event that you pass on or something. No, for us, it's just like we're giving you a financial product. We are giving you access to your money. Into your money earns interest, and that is basically it. So there are two different things. There's insurance, but for us, we're in investments. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Zac. You've given us quite clear responses. I know that I'm not sure if I missed any question from anyone, but if it's there, please raise your hand so that it can be picked up. And if not, we are coming to the evening of our presentation. If there is any question that was left unanswered, please raise your question, and I will allow you to speak. So I have Florence Chinove. You can kindly unmute and pass on your question so that Zac can respond.
Thanks. Just correction, Florence Anobe is my name. My question is on the chat, but I can repeat it. In the event that the investments make losses, what is the minimum interest guaranteed to your savers at the starting point? What is the bare minimum bar that you set? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Florence.
Darius, should I answer that or wait for other questions?
You can answer that as we wait for other questions. If there's any people who raise their hand, for now you can answer that.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Florence, we do not give guarantees because, of course, it's just like saying, remember, like a case in point balanced fund. You're investing in shares of companies. We do not determine whether the share prices will go up or go down. But that's the reason why it's important for you to know which fund you're going into and what risk you're willing to take. So if I am, for example, a person who is very cautious about losing my money, I will go into a fund which invests only in safe investments, meaning that a fund that invests with the central bank and commercial banks. Those are very low risk investments. And that's why maybe another question to ask, because this question, your question is actually more of safety, because your question has a safety element. How safe is my money? In the event that something happens UAP, how safe is my money? So I will try to also answer your question by saying that safety of an investment depends on how much risk is involved. So now the interest investments are low risk investments, with the exception of balanced fund where I invest shares of companies. They are low risk investments because you're giving money to the central bank, you're giving money to commercial banks. Okay, and these institutions always pay on time, especially to us fund managers. So the only risk that I would say this investment has, for example, is any risk involving the value of our currency, because when you go into the interest, you're betting on the performance of the Uganda shilling. So if, for example, a war came to this country, hypothetically speaking, the central bank, for example, closed, or there's what we call hyperinflation, that what happened in Zimbabwe, where the value of the shilling becomes worthless, then of course would be still giving you your interest, but the value of your money would be worthless. That's the greatest risk we have. But as far as risks like credit risk, we don't have credit risk because there's no probability of default with our investors because they are safe investments. We don't give money to private companies because private companies, there's a high degree of risk which we're not willing to take, or the regulator has not allowed us to take. But as an individual, you can go into these into these high risk, high reward investments. But for us, we're not licensed to invest our clients' money into such investments. So we don't have the problem of losing money. And in case you want to take extra risk, of course, by extra risk, we go to, say, shares of companies under the balanced fund, but we don't go to, we don't invest money in products that are not regulated. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Zac. So next we shall have Kambana William unmuting and asking his question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Darius, and thank you very much, Zac, for the explanation and for the presentation. I actually listened to you sometime back, something like maybe 2 months ago, Zac, about a presentation, some similar presentation, and I took it up and actually opened it to trust. Now, I've heard something you explained today, and I've been intrigued and I've picked interest. That is the issue of UAP acting as a stockbroker, or had something like that. If I want to, for example, invest in a government bond, but through the stock exchange, can UAP do that on my behalf as a stockbroker, but not as in trust? And if it is so possible, how do I do that? Thank you very much.
Yes, William, we actually fix money. Our license from CMA allows us to do that because we have a license to also be a stockbroker. That's for brokerage, but also in case you want to buy bonds, bills, fixed deposits, as William Wilberforce, we have the license to do that. So basically, when that is happening, I will give you, of course, now that's where we put you through to our portfolio management team, where of course they'll ask you how much money do you have, what time horizon, which bond are you interested in purchasing, is it a 10-year, is it a 15-year, and then we're able to execute the trades. You get your certificate and everything, and life goes on as usual. So the answer is definitely yes. So you'll just simply contact me. We put you through to the portfolio management team, and then we process without any problem. Because the bit about the bond market, that is a very active market. We're always trading bonds, although for us we are doing it under the unit trust for many clients because there there's tax exemption. However, if you are interested in locking in your money as an individual, we are also in position to do the trade for you, and then you're able to keep getting coupon payments every 6 months. Yes, please.
All right, thank you very much, Zac, for those responses. I see someone who was asking, what is the process for changing next of kin for a unit trust account?
Now, just for us to understand, this is not like insurance. You know, with insurance, you can always put a beneficiary, and the beneficiary may not necessarily be, it may not be you. It could be your child in the event that something happens to you. However, when you look at the finance industry, we do not have what you call a next of kin. For us, our next of kin are more of emergency contacts, but they are not beneficiaries. In the financial world, the beneficiaries are those who it depends on how you structure your will, and also depends on who has your who receives the letters of administration, because this is like an investment account. So whoever has the letters of administration in the event that you passed on is the one who assumes your investments when you pass on. So that's the reason why I'm saying when you think of next of kin, in our context, it's more of an emergency contact. If something happened to you, they're the people who will call and say, so-and-so had an investment account with us, and we are willing to please inform the family. And whoever brings the letter of administration, of course, when they come to us, of course, they have passed through the court or something, then we're in position to also continue the process on our side. And then the investment continues. But the bit about the interest is, even if there are angles, for us, our job is keep on investing your money. Whether there are angles or not, your money keeps working and keeps working and keeps multiplying until that point that reaches where we can now confirm who your beneficiaries are based on the legal documents that you give us. Yes.
All right, thank you, Zac. I'll pick up the last set of questions. So I have a question from David, and David is asking, do these funds have maintenance fee? I know you responded to that, but maybe you'll just highlight for the sake of clarity. And then Pamela is asking, do you accept dollars, or we have to change the money to Ugandan shillings? So you can respond to that, and then we'll be closing the session.
Yes, the only fees that we have are the management fees, and it's 2%. And I explained to you earlier on what that means practically. The 2% is fixed. It doesn't change. It doesn't change based on performance. So whether we generate a high interest rate for the members, we still take only 2%. And this money is what is used to service the systems and so on and so forth. So we don't have any other charge apart from that. There's also someone who asks about, do you accept dollars? Yes, we accept dollars, but not in the unit trust. We don't have a dollar unit trust product. So we can either fix money for you in dollars as a normal fixed deposit, or you can change to shillings. Or if you send to us, the bank of course changes it to shillings, and we invest for you in shillings. One of the things I must say is that currently the Uganda shilling is very strong, and if you invest in shillings, you are going to probably buy more dollars if you had to convert to dollars, maybe for trade. I always try to tell Ugandans that dollars make sense if money is leaving the economy. Okay, if for example you're an importer, it would make sense to have dollars. However, if you're investing in Uganda and you keep money in dollars, okay, the challenge with that is that dollar interest rates are very low. If you go to the bank and you want to fix money in dollars, they will probably give you 1% per annum, okay, for a fixed deposit. Yet in shillings, there are so many shilling investment opportunities. The interest, for example, you are 10 point something % per annum compared to the 1% of the dollars. So when you look at it that way, you say this being an open economy, meaning that you can convert your money to foreign currency anytime. Invest in shillings, 1 year later, if you convert to dollars, you'll be richer than someone who just kept money in what? In dollars. Yes, so that is the issue about the dollar question. I don't know. I've seen some other questions. Someone is asking slides. Someone, I think it's okay. No, not that. Someone was asking what happens if I have withdrawn all the monies and want to start again with you a year after. Are my records still available for reuse? Yes. You see, Viola, your account never expires. You can withdraw money to zero balance. There are no charges. But the beauty about it is that when you, it's just like zero will be compounding zero. Your account never closes. But when you send money, we shall start compounding from that point. So that is it. Yes, I think that's basically it. Back to you, Darius.
All right. Thank you very much, Zac, for sharing with us. It has been fantastic. We have been very delighted to host you. I'm very sure that everyone has learned something from the sessions. Now, just before we close, just before we go, I saw someone asking about if we can always take these sessions to schools. I think someone was asking about if you can. Okay, this was Julius Singoma, Darius. I wish you could also organize such sessions for schools and universities. Many of us are just learning about these important tools, but imagine if you had known this while in school. Now, as building capacity for generations, yes, we organize sessions for schools, but this was before lockdown and when schools were operational. So hopefully that when schools open up, we can always interact. If you have a school or if you have a group that you'd like such sessions arranged, and generally financial literacy and personal finance, you can get in touch with me and we will be able to organize such a session. However, please utilize such platform. I'm sure even Zac at Unit Trust at UAP would be very delighted to come and make a presentation if you have invited me or if you have invited him. So Zac, on behalf of our community, I would like to thank you for your generosity, for willing to spend your Sunday evening with us so that you could share information about investing in unit trusts. We do not take it for granted. Yes, I know UAP will probably make will have some accounts from here, but it's the people that are going to benefit, because I believe that the more our generation is informed, the more they are able to make decisions that uplift their personal finances. We thank you everyone that joined us today. If you'd like to see the recording, please go to YouTube, Personal Finance with Darius. You'll find their recordings of the previous sessions. Even today's session will be posted sometime tomorrow. So you can always check there for these sessions. And also, you can join our WhatsApp group where you can always receive the information firsthand. If you'd like to reach out to me personally for individual sessions, for sessions to your groups, for sessions to your workplace, you can contact me on 0781 81 9477. I'll type it in the chat room and we can always engage more. I thank you very much for having joined us today and wish you a great week ahead. Thank you.